That's what this podcast needed more of. Sour
Lemons.
Yeah.
Lemons.
Any
That's what
lemon.
I like it.
You eat them raw off the tree too.
Weirdo. See, let's get real. Raw lemons are actually quite passable. We can all agree on the
way more passable than olives.
Yeah, no, I know people who eat raw lemons.
There are two schools of thought, and one of them is they're passable. Other one is mine. And thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
That was a great TED Talk.
Then, yeah, 10 million views.
Go up on stage, be like, "There's two sets of opinions, mine and other ones."
Mine and other ones.
Isn't that kind of all TED Talks? Though?
Darian was born on Christmas.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, merry birthday!
Thanks.
How was that? Growing up, was it like super? Was it like exciting, or did you feel like upstage? Not to get into like the deep psychology of your birth, but
at my birth, I can't say much. Just glad to be alive, I was raised more Christian, and so I was like, like Jesus and I are homies.
Jesus pretty tight.
And like I definitely got really spoiled because of it. So like double presents for sure.
You got double presents?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, my mom felt really bad. She knew it was gonna be like a thing.
I mean, I'm gonna disagree. As a person that never did Christmas until like 5 years ago, I don't like living without Christmas. Christmas pretty lit. Christmas quite cash. But I do see how you feel. Christmas is the best holiday. And
wow.
I respect everyone and their cultures and their respectful things. But if Islam had Christmas, I would be a lot happier if we also had Christmas, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Wait, so like Islam doesn't have any like winter I guess this time of year holidays?
I mean, Islam is just like, oh, it's hot, it sucks. But like we have like Eid. We get Eid. Eid is supposed to be pretty cash, but Eid is basically our Christmas. But like, I mean, my family wasn't really deciding to celebrate that much, but we don't really get like, I don't know, there's no like Eid Santa that brings you presents. There's no like Eid turkey. How about I do 2 explanations next time? How about, so my explanation, my dog ate it.
Achilles got dressed.
No, Achilles got dressed. Wait, which chapter? I just need to see the title.
The champion.
Aeneas is the star.
Yeah.
Achilles gets dressed.
What else happened?
He put on his boots. He put on his socks.
Was Achilles like chill and eating snacks? Or was he mad?
It was like, okay, like these are my shoes. Okay, well that's that's a nice jacket. Well, so he's mad.
Wow.
He's really angry. He's like, oof, I'm feeling a lot of sad.
Why?
And well, sometimes we all feel certain ways.
That's true.
It's probably just like, I don't know, maybe it's the weather. Well, Patroclus died, but he wants to kill Hector and nothing else. He doesn't really care.
Everybody else was like, hey, maybe we should eat some lunch before we go fight in a war for a really long time. And Achilles was like, no, I don't want any food. I don't wanna. And then they were like, okay, whatever. And then the gods were like, well, now you don't need to eat.
Now you don't eat.
And then just talked.
Yes. Most importantly, Rowan Beauty the horse started talking in the last chapter.
And also stopped talking.
And also stopped
talking forever.
Yeah, he was like, Achilles, you're gonna die. And then Achilles, instead of being like, you can talk, was like, shut up.
Yeah, why would you say that?
Achilles was like, I know, shut up. I know I'm gonna die.
Like,
I've heard that one before, Rowan Beauty.
And the horses were like, we didn't f up. Patrick up. and we're great, and Achilles is gonna die anyway.
Yeah, pretty
Dude,
much.
this horse is vicious.
These are some sassy horses.
Just like calling it like it is.
True.
I'd be a little sassy if you just rode me for many, many hours.
Don't blame us.
Jesus Christ. Well, that's out there forever. I can't take that back.
So today's book is called The Olympian Gods in Arms. We finally, after so many chapters, get to see Achilles start fighting, which is very, very exciting.
I don't remember you ever fought.
Yeah, not in this book.
The
Not that we've seen.
main story of him.
So we're gonna see him actually start doing stuff. So by the beaked ships, the Argives formed for battle, arming round you, Achilles. Achilles, starved for war, and faced by the Trojan ranks along the plain's high ground. They have the high ground. At the same time, from the peak of rugged ridged Olympus, Zeus commanded Themis to call the gods to council. Themis is the one with the scales, the blindfolded lady who holds the scales.
Themis. Oh, that one.
That's her.
Nice. Cool.
So Zeus has the blindfolded one go around and find everybody.
Yeah, you're the one with task.
So he commanded Themis to call the gods to council. Themis made her rounds, ranging far and wide, and summoned all to march to Father's halls. Not a single river failed to come. So the rivers all have gods tied to them. Basically, the rivers are gods. Not a single river fails to come, none apart from the ocean stream that holds the earth in place, nor a single nymph who haunts the rustling groves, and the river springs and the lush grassy meadows. All flocked to the halls of Zeus, who gathers storms, and found their seats in the colonnades of polished stone. Hephaestus built for Father Zeus with all his craft and cunning. And so the powers assembled deep in Zeus's halls, nor did the god of earthquakes fail to hear the goddess. The god of earthquakes is Poseidon. Surging up from the sea, he came to join their ranks, took a seat in their midst, and probed Zeus's plans.
Why now, great king of the lightning? Why summon the gods to council once again? Still some concern for Troy's and Achaea's armies. Now that battle is set to burst in flames between them. Oh.
But Zeus, who marshals the thunder, replied,
God. Go.
Stop trying to have conversations with yourself. God of the earthquake. Well, you know my plans, the strategy in my mind, and why I call you here. These mortals do concern me, dying as they are. Still, here I stay on Olympus, throned aloft. Here in my steep mountain cleft, to feast my eyes and delight my heart. The rest of you, down you go. Go to Trojans. Go to Achaeans. Help either side, as the fixed desire drives each god to act. If Achilles fights the Trojans, unopposed by us, not for a moment will they hold his breakneck force. Even before now, they'd shake to see him coming. Now, with his rage inflamed for his friend's death, boyfriends, I fear he'll raise the walls against the will of fate.
Great. So, yeah, and they're pretty right. If Achilles was left to his own devices, he would demolish the Trojans completely. But that's not what's written in the stars. So they kind of have to stop Achilles so that fate happens the way it's supposed to. Which seems weird. Like they have to interfere so that the prophecy comes true. But that's how it goes.
Big brain.
And with that command, Zeus roused incessant battle. Down the immortals launched to the field of action. Their warring spirits split the gods two ways. Hera went to the mast ships with Pallas Athena, Poseidon who grips the earth, and Hermes, god of luck, who excels them all at subtle twists and tactics, and the god of fire, Hephaestus, flanked them, seething power, hobbling along, but his shrunken legs moved nimbly. But Ares swept down to the Trojans, helmet flashing. And pacing him went Phoebus, with long hair streaming, and Artemis showering arrows, Leto and river Xanthus, and goddess Aphrodite, strong with eternal laughter.
Yeah.
Now, While the gods had still kept clear of mortal men, the Achaeans kept on gaining glory. Great Achilles, who held back from the brutal fighting for so long, had just come blazing forth. Chilling tremors shook the Trojans' knees, down to the last man, terrified at the sight. The headlong runner coming, gleaming in all his gear, a fire like man-destroying Ares. But once the Olympians merged with the mortal fighters, Strife, the mighty driver of armies, rose in strength, and Athena bellowed her stunning war cry, standing now at the edge of the deep-dug trench outside the rampart. Now at thundering cliffs she loosed her vibrant cry, and Ares bellowed his cry from far across the lines, churning black as a whirlwind, roaring down now from the city's crest, commanding Trojans on and now rushing along the Simwa banks and scaling Sunlight Hill. So the blissful gods were rousing both opposing armies, clashing front to front, but then, in their own ranks, their overpowering strife broke out in massive war. Down from the high skies, the father of men and gods let loose tremendous thunder. From down below, Poseidon shook the boundless earth, and towering heads of mountains. The whole world quaked. The slopes of Ida with all her springs and all her peaks, and the walls of Troy and all Achaea's ships. So Poseidon causes this huge earthquake. And, terror-struck in the underworld, Hades, lord of the dead, cringed and sprang from his throne and screamed shrill, fearing the god who rocks the ground above his realm. Giant Poseidon would burst the earth wide open now and lay bare to mortal men and immortal gods at last the houses of the dead, the dank, moldering horrors that fill the deathless gods themselves with loathing. It's an earthquake so powerful that Hades is afraid that the earth is going to open up to the underworld.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's fair.
That's pretty intense.
Yeah. I mean, I'd be type my roof just like...
And this is, as far as I can remember, Hades' first appearance. So there's a metaphor there with like death, the underworld finally showing up in the text right when we're about to get to the most intense part of the book.
It's kind of funny. Like, hella people died so far, but Hades was just like, whatever.
An earthquake happened. He's like, can you stop?
Can you stop? Right. I'm busy. It's kind of cool. I would say, like, so Hades is supposed to be one of the more major gods, no?
Yeah, he's not in a lot of myths. Like, not that big a deal. He's a big deal, but he's not, like, involved with the upper worlds. He's just got his own thing going on.
I see. Does Hades have any connection to any, like, natural events?
It's a good question. I don't know. Not in the, like Poseidon has the earthquakes and whatever. I don't think he has anything like that.
Okay.
He's really not involved with Earth. He's just got the underworld.
Yeah, he's busy.
Yeah, he's busy. It's too bad because he gets caught up with like the Christian devil and hell and whatever, but he's not evil. He's not
not supposed to be bad, right?
He's not bad at all. He's just like, I take care of the dead people. Like, that's just what I do.
It's Disney propaganda that made Hades the bad boy.
Mostly Christian propaganda, but yeah. But yeah, I mean, the most prominent story of Hades is the deal with Persephone. And there's conflicting myths on that. So it's like, did he steal Persephone? Did she go willingly? Did he steal her? And then like Beauty and the Beast, she ended up liking him and then she chose to stay. So there's lots of stuff there. But honestly, out of all the gods, Hades is like the least sketch.
He's just the dude. He just puts in his shift. Zeus is there like making everything worse. Oh man, dude, I like that.
Zeus is definitely a way worse person than Hades.
Right?
I was trying to see if Hades had other things in this dominion, so I looked up an article, and I just found this is totally relevant. But when the Greeks propitiated Hades, they banged their heads on the ground to be sure he would hear them.
What?
They would just like slam it. So like to worship Hades, you have to like slam your head into the ground.
Oh my god, that's probably why they probably forgot all the Hades stories because all their worshippers just had head trauma.
They're all concussed. Yes.
There were so many Hades stories, but they're like, oh god.
If Hades heard you like bashing your head against the ground, and he heard that, like, it doesn't make this earthquake seem that exciting anymore.
Exactly. I'm like,
That's kind of true. Hades listens to this podcast. We know it.
Hades, friend of the
Friend of the podcast. Yes.
All right. So that's the Hades interlude. So immense the clash as the war of gods erupted. There, look, rearing against the Lord Poseidon, Phoebus Apollo loomed, bristling winged arrows, rearing against Ares, blazing-eyed Athena, rearing against Hera, Artemis, with an arrow of gold and cry that hallows the hunt, the goddess raining shafts, huntress sister of Phoebus, the deadly, distant archer, rearing against Leto, Hermes, the running god of luck, and against the fire god rose the great, deep, swirling river that immortals called Xanthus, mankind calls Scamander.
Scamander.
So God went up against God, but blazing Achilles strained to engage Prince Hector, plunge in battle with him beyond all others. Achilles yearning now to glut with Hector's blood, his no other. Ares who hacks at men behind his rawhide shield. But Aeneas it was whom Phoebus, urger of armies, filled with power now and drove against Achilles. So Apollo doesn't send forth Hector, he sends forth Aeneas of the Aeneid, who later goes on to find Italy.
Oh! Represent.
Yeah.
I'm loving this expanded universe.
Yeah. It's an extended universe. Italy is an extended universe.
Pretty much.
Italy's fanfic of the Iliad. Oh my god, that's amazing.
Okay, you know what? It's worse than fanfic. Okay, so Aeneas hears this prophecy. Like, he has to leave. The Trojan War ends. He's Trojan. He's got to leave. And this prophet is like, hey, you know when you're home, when you are so hungry, you eat your tables. And he's like, all right, cool. So he goes on this big, long trip. And then someone, like, they land in Italy and they make him a pizza. And so they're eating their pizza. And they're like, hey, look, we're, like, eating our tables because we don't need plates. Like, we're eating our tables.
Pizza looks like a stool.
We're home.
Oh.
Like, word. All right, let me find a fox. Like,
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Let me get some spoilers.
Pretty short jump to pizza bagels.
Anyway, you're all dumb.
Yeah, that's insane. Oh.
The original pizza was actually a table.
Written like 1,000 years after this. Literally, it was.
That's actually so cool.
It was literally fan fiction.
It was literally fan fiction.
It literally was. Like, Virgil was born like 1,000 years after this, and he wrote it as like a sequel, but it's fan fiction.
That's actually so cool. Like, imagine like someone 1,000 years from now builds a city, calls it Harry Potter.
Yeah.
That's got sick. I like it. I like it.
It's like if we wrote Hamlet 2 and like in 1,000 years it was canon.
Yeah, exactly. Hamlet 2.
Virgil, the super smart Dante through the Inferno, is also like, a pizza's a table. Like,
dude,
guys, you sound incredulous now, but there's a few Testament books I got to introduce you to because.
Well, okay, that was the Aeneas interlude.
We're gonna have a lot of interludes today. I like it.
So, if Phoebus Apollo makes Aeneas filled with power and drove him against Achilles, Phoebus, masking his voice like Priam's son Lysaon, like him to the life, the son of Zeus called out.
Captain of Trojan councils, where have they gone, those threats you made in your cups before the kings, boasting you'd face Achilles man to man in battle?
But Aeneas turned and gave the god an answer.
Son of Priam, why press me to go against Achilles? It's much against my will. His fury is overwhelming. Nor would it be the first time I have had to face the matchless headlong runner. Once before, he chased me hard with his spear, down from Ida the day he raided our flocks and sacked Lyrnessus, Pedasus for it as well. But Zeus saved me then, put force in my heart, spring in my racing knees, else I'd gone down at Achilles' hands. Athena's too, the goddess sweeping before him, lent the light of safety, calling Achilles on that day with his bronze spear to slaughter Lelegas and Trojans. That is why no mortal can fight Achilles head to head. At every foray, one of the gods goes with him, beating back his death. Even without that power, his spear flies straight to the mark, never stops, not till it bores clean through some fighter's flesh. But if only Zeus would stretch the ropes of war, dead even, the man would have no easy victory then, believe me. Not though he claims he's built of solid bronze.
Apollo, son of Zeus, encouraged him still more.
Hero, why not invoke the deathless gods yourself? They say you're a son of Aphrodite, Zeus's daughter, but Achilles sprang from a lesser goddess's loins. Aphrodite's a child of Zeus. Thetis comes from the old man of the sea, so ram him straight on with your tough bronze. Now, and not for a moment, let him turn you back with his stinging proud contempt and brazen threats.
That breathed enormous strength in the good captain. Right through the front he went, helmed in flashing bronze. Nor did the white-armed Hera fail to see Anchises' son, advancing there through the press to face Achilles. Hera loves Achilles. She's Achilles' trash number 1, and she will not want this to happen.
Achilles trash. She's Achilles trash. I love that.
Rallying other gods around her, Hera shouted,
Bend to the work, you two, Poseidon, Athena. Decide in your hearts, now this assault will go. Here comes Aeneas. Look, helmed in flashing bronze, and oppose Achilles now. And Phoebus speeds him on. Come, spin him round in his tracks and drive him back. That, or else, one of us might stand beside Achilles and lend him winning force. His courage must not flag. Let him know he's loved by the greatest gods on high, while the gods who up till now have shielded Troy from war and death are worthless as the wind. We swept down from Olympus, all to join this fight, so Achilles might not fall at Trojan hands today. Afterward, he must suffer what the fates spun out on the doomed fighter's lifeline drawn that day his mother gave him birth. If Achilles fails to learn all this from our own immortal voices, he will quail when a god attacks him face to face. The gods are hard to handle when they come blazing forth in their true power.
So she wants to help the Achaeans, but the god who grips the earth, that's Poseidon, restrained the queen.
Hera, so hard, so senseless. Don't leap to extremes. I, at least, have no real lust to drive our forces against the gods of Troy. Our side is so much stronger. Come now, let us move off and settle down together, far from the trampled field. Take a lookout post and leave the war to mortals. But if Ares or Phoebus cares to start things off, if they block Achilles and keep him out of action, they will have a fight on their hands, then and there. An all-out fight with us, but not for long. I trust they will soon break off and slink back to Olympus, home to the gathered gods who wait their coming, overwhelmed by the crushing power of our fists. Dude, they're gonna like brawl?
Wait, did he?
What's gonna happen now?
Basically, Poseidon is like, look, don't worry. Everybody, all the gods know what has to happen. Like Achilles is fated to go forward, survive today, kill Hector, whatever. They're not going to interfere with that. And if they do, then we can step in. But until then, it doesn't really matter what they do because like Achilles is alive and he's kicking ass. Like we don't really need anyone else.
Like we're just kind of working it out so far.
Yeah. So let's just hang tight. If something bad happens, we can jump in. That's pretty much it.
But I forgot one thing. Who gave the prophecy of Achilles doing all this?
I don't know.
The horse in the last chapter.
It's just like in this book anyway, it's just a thing that everyone knows. I think like a couple books ago, the books that are lost, it was told like in one of those. But
yeah. I remember like there's a lot of talk about this and just everyone's in on it. Because I was wondering if there's like a grander either wisdom or some kind of grander power that all these gods are just kind of in on.
That's why like Apollo is messing around with Aeneas. He's like, go ahead, do it, you know.
I see.
They're all doing like little things, but they all know how the greater picture is going to end up.
I see. That is really cool. So wait, on these two sides, sorry to add one more interlude, we have Ares, Zeus, Athena on Trojan side right now, and Poseidon and someone else on Achaean side?
It lists them on the Achaean side. We have Hera and Athena, who have been there since the beginning, and
Right.
Poseidon, who joined in a couple chapters ago, and Hermes, who's around. Zeus is kind of in the middle right now.
Oh,
And
yeah.
on the Trojan side, we have Ares,
Artemis.
who cares?
Apollo.
Artemis and Apollo, who are twins, Leto, and some rivers, and Aphrodite, who's always been there.
Okay, lit. Nice.
So with that threat, the god of the sea blue main led the way to the fortress raised for godlike Heracles. Earth piled on both sides, a high imposing breastwork. Men of Troy and Pallas Athena flung up for the man where he could race and escape that sea monster whenever it charged him hard from shore to plain. There, Poseidon sat at ease with his deathless friends, who spread unbroken shrouds of mist around their shoulders, while far on the other side the gods of Troy sat down on the brows of Sunlight Hill, flanking you, Apollo, god of the wild cry, and Ares, scourge of cities. So they're sitting on the sides in this like Cold War type proxy war situation, watching this go on.
Pretty fresh.
So either side of the lines, they took positions, weighing tactics, each Olympian force reluctant now to launch out first on the wrenching horrors of war, while Zeus, on the heights, sat poised to thunder orders. But the whole plain filled with men and flashed with bronze, with troops and horse, and beneath their feet the earth quaked as armies rushed together. And now in the no man's land, two champions, greatest of all, strode and closed, both men burning for battle. Aeneas, son of Anchises, and brilliant Achilles.
No.
Woo!
Whoa! No, Aeneas.
Aeneas came up first. Aeneas came up first with long menacing strides, head tossing his heavy helmet, his charging shield thrust out to defend his chest, and shook his bronze spear. But over against him came Achilles, rearing like some lion out on a rampage, and a whole town of men is geared for the hunt to cut him down. But at first he lopes around, all the contempt, till one of the fast young hunters spears him, then, crouched for attack, his jaws gaping, over his teeth the foam breaks out, deep in his chest the brave heart groans, he lashes his ribs, his flanks and hips with his tail, he whips himself into fighting fury, eyes glaring, hurls himself head on, kill one of the men or die, go down himself at the first lethal charge. So now magnificent pride and fury lashed Achilles to go against Aeneas, the great-hearted fighter. As they closed on each other, both in range, the matchless runner Achilles opened up.
Aeneas, why so far from your own rank, standing all exposed? Does your courage really drive you to challenge me, in hopes of ruling your stallion-breaking friends and filling Priam's throne? Even if you killed me, would Priam drop his crown in your hands for that? The king has sons. He's sound of limb, no half-wit either. Or have the Trojans sworn to carve you a fine estate, the choicest land in the realm, rich in vineyards and good tilled fields for you to lord it over, if only you kill me? Ah, but I think you'll find the work quite taxing. I seem to remember once before you fled my spear. Or have you forgot the time I caught you all alone? I cut you off from your flocks and sent you scurrying down the slopes of Ida, running for dear life, legs driving, never a look behind. And you escaped that time. You fled to Lionis's walls. It'd be really awkward if he stuttered in the middle of a monologue. But at one charge, I sacked the place with Athena's help and Father Zeus. I tore the day of freedom away from all the women, dragged them off as slaves. Zeus saved you then, and other gods joined in, but he won't save you now. I'd say, though the hope goes racing through your mind, go back to your own rank and file, I tell you. Don't stand up against me, or you will meet your death. Even a fool learns something once it hits him.
But I actually like that a lot.
But Aeneas, taking a long, deep breath, replied. So Aeneas talks for a long time, Whoever wants to do this, just go down to "Here's my story, Achilles," and then pause.
Don't think for a moment, Achilles, son of Peleus, you can frighten me with words like a child, a fool. I'm an old hand myself at trading taunts and insults. We both know each other's birth, each other's parents. We've heard their far-flung fame on the lips of mortal men, though you have never set eyes on mine or I on yours. They say you're Peleus' son, that fine, flawless man. Your mother, Thetis, sleek-haired child of the sea, and I am Aeneas, and I can boast Anchises' blood. The proud Anchises, but my mother is Aphrodite. Our parents, one pair or the other, will mourn a dear son today. Certain it is, I warn you, we won't break off from battle and leave the field with no more than a youngster's banter light as this. But about my birth, if you'd like to learn it well, first to last, though many people know it, here's my story, Achilles. ...
We don't need to hear his story because it's super boring.
No one cares about your story. Go make Italy.
Quite literally, it's like that part in the Bible where it's like, and Joseph begat Jacob, and Jacob begat Isaac, and da 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 da. It just goes on, and no one cares. So
my great-great-great-grandfather was John.
yeah,
His son. This is so funny.
Interesting to think that this whole war is waiting for his backstory to end too.
Like, he was just there like, okay.
But I'm skimming through here and it's talking a lot about wind and horses mating, and I'm not really sure what that has to do with Aeneas. Like, does he have horse ancestors?
Don't judge.
Yo, is that why the horse is? Oh no, maybe it's an allusion to the last chapter because the horse was like, "You're gonna die," and he's
Wait,
like, "I am horse person."
Was
But
it like
I don't
straight-
know.
I am a horse person.
Straight from the horse's mouth again.
Oh.
I don't think Homer and I have the same concept of what a horse is.
That's a hot interpretation.
so no, he's just talking about Erycthonius, who was one of his ancestors. He happened to have these horses.
Oh, dude, did Achilles have a dog?
Did Achilles have a dog? In the Song of Achilles, they have several.
Really?
Mhm.
Dude, is John Wick based on the Iliad? Okay, never mind. Never mind.
That's right.
Patroclus was not a dog.
Oh, that's true.
Yuri on Ice is based on John Wick, which is based on the Iliad.
That's it. That's facts.
See, big brain moment, dude. We broke through. We
Okay.
made it.
So that's his story. He's got a lot of cool people in his lineage. You can skip to "Come Achilles." No more bragging on this way like boys.
Come, Achilles, no more bragging on this way like boys, standing here in the thick of a pitched battle. Plenty of insults we could fling against each other, enough to sink a ship with 100 benches. A man's tongue is a glib and twisty thing. Plenty of words there are, all kinds at its command, with all the room in the world for talk to range and stray. And the sort you use is just the sort you'll hear. What do we need with wrangling, hurling insults, cursing each other here like a pair of nagging women boiling over with petty heartsick squabbles, blustering into the streets to pelt themselves with slander, much of it true, much of it not. Anger stirs up lies. I blaze for battle. Your taunts can't turn me back, not till we fought it out with bronze. On with it. Taste the bite of each other's brazen spears.
With
That's
that,
a really long way to.
it is.
Yeah. You
Say
could just say,
we're
hey
good.
man, I'm gonna kick your ass. Like,
I'm gonna whoop you. This is me. Son of.
It's
Yeah, that's a good point. Whoever masters the craft of not monologuing before they attack is going to win the war.
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
He's just talking. It's like, yo. It's like, yo, wait. I was finished.
Once again, you and Homer have different definitions on horses and now war. So
Yeah, right.
Yeah, sad. It's fine. I'm comfortable with that.
It is good to have different opinions from Homer on most things, actually.
Yeah.
I'm with that.
The color of the ocean, how you treat women.
How you doing?
Mhm.
It's also sexually progressive, though.
yeah, Just different.
In some ways.
I know
In some
what you mean.
ways.
With
I get what
Achilles,
you mean too, but
it's just that's not. It was accepted. Like it's not like he was being weird or cool or like progressive by.
I suppose. He was just being a person of that era.
Yeah, it was just the culture.
I see.
Like writing about men wearing makeup in 17th century France would not be progressive either. Deep cut. All right. No more makeup.
I'm learning a lot today. History lesson with Christina.
Okay. Anyway.
I like it.
So with that, Aeneas hurled a heavy lance at the great and awesome shield. That shield we learned all about. And its massive surface clanged as it took the point. Achilles had thrust it forth with his strong fist, fearing staunch Aeneas' spear with its long shadow would drive its whole length lightly through its buckler. Groundless fears. The fighter had no idea at all that the famous gifts of the gods do not break lightly. Can't be crushed when a mortal hand assails them.
Okay, wait. How does he have no idea at all? Like, the gods are like a big deal.
Yeah.
they're like carrying him through the whole thing.
I think basically Achilles is nervous as you would be when a spear comes flying at your face.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I'm gonna die. And he's like, no.
More he's not computing in the moment. We'll see.
Right.
New shields, gotta break it in a little bit.
Okay.
That's true. Great, that awesome shield.
Can't be crushed when a mortal hand assails them. So now, not even seasoned Aeneas' heavy shaft could smash Achilles' shield. The gold blocked it. Forged in the god's gift. It did bore through 2 plies, but 3 were left, since the crippled smith had made it 5 plies thick, with 2 of bronze on the outside, inside 2 of tin, between them 1 of gold, where the ashen spear held fast.
Mortal weapons can't break this shield, but it can break 40% of it.
Yeah.
Aeneas is really cool. I don't know.
Yeah, he's cool enough.
Achilles next. He hurled his spear, and its long shadow flew, and the weapon struck the balanced round shield of Aeneas under the outer rim, where the bronze ran thinnest, backed by the thinnest bull hide. Straight through the Pelian ash burst, the shield rang out with a screech, but Aeneas crouched low, holding the buckler off his chest, terrified as the shaft shot past his back, hurled so hard it plunged deep in the ground, even after it tore up 2 round plies of the shield that cased his body. Dodging the big spear, Aeneas got to his feet, a dizzying swirl of anguish running down his eyes, blind with fear the point had stuck so close. But drawing his sharp sword, Achilles charged, wild, hurtling toward him, loosing a savage cry as Aeneas hefted a boulder in his hands. A tremendous feat. No 2 men could hoist it, weak as men are now.
Yeah.
Nice job. That's a hot one. Hot.
But all on his own, he raised it high with ease. Then and there, he'd have struck Achilles lunging in. The rock would have hit him square in casque or shield. The gear would have warded off grim death, and Achilles, closing, would have slashed his life away with a well-honeyed blade. If the god of earthquakes had not marked it quickly and called the gods at once who grouped around him. It's Poseidon.
Now I tell you, my heart aches for great Aeneas. He'll go down to the house of death this instant, overwhelmed by Achilles, all because he trusted the distant deadly archer's urgings. Poor fool, as if Apollo would lift a hand to save him now from death, grim death. Aeneas, the innocent. Why should Aeneas suffer here for no good reason, embroiled in the quarrels of others, not his own? Not his own? Not his. He always gave us gifts to warm our hearts. Skies. So come, let us rescue him from death ourselves. For fear the son of Cronus might just tower in rage if Achilles kills this man. He is destined to survive. Yes. So the generation of Dardanus will not perish, obliterated without an heir, without a trace. Dardanus, dearest to Zeus of all the sons that mortal women brought to birth for father. Now he has come to hate the generation of Priam, and now Aeneas will rule the men of Troy in power, his son's son and the sons born in future years.
Right, so Poseidon, who was like, let's stay out of it unless something crazy happens, is now like, yo, something crazy's happening.
Something crazy happening.
Aeneas is supposed to survive so that he can go on and found Rome. So we have to save Aeneas.
Oh, good old Poseidon. So you don't watch.
But Hera, the queen, broke in, her eyes open wide.
Decide in your own mind, god of the earthquake, whether to save Aeneas now or let him die, crushed by Achilles, for all his fighting heart. But time and again, we too have sworn our oaths in the eyes of all the gods, I and Pallas Athena, never to drive the fatal day away from the Trojans, not even when all Troy burns in the ramping fires, when the warring sons of Achaea burn her down.
As soon as he heard that, the god of earthquake surged through the clashing troops and raining spears to reach the place where the two famed heroes fought. Quickly he poured a mist over Achilles' eyes, wrenched the spear from stalwart Aeneas' shield, laid the bronze-shod ashen shaft at Achilles' feet, and hoisting Aeneas off the earth, he slung him far. And over the massing lines of men and massing chariots, high in the air, Aeneas vaulted, hurled by the god's hand.
Oh no.
Just yeets him.
I have to keep him safe. Like,
Yeah,
Home run.
Wow.
this is a tonal. I feel like sometimes this is tonally everywhere. Like talking horses and eating and.
Right. I wonder how Homer told how Homer recited that part. I can really imagine him. Very, very serious. God, God, God. Then he just takes him and throws him. He gets it.
I mean, it's inherently funny. And it's inherently funny and it's inherently weird because this is Achilles' first moment back in war, and it gets the rug taken out from under him, you know?
Yeah, right. He's like, all right, let's go. Whoa! And everyone's like, yep, that's normal. No one comments on this.
Gods.
It is just funny how everything goes well for him, or everything's like little kid gloves, but then books and chapters before, it's totally brutal.
It's about to get brutal. So
I like that.
Aeneas was yeeted till he came to ground at the battle's churning flank, where Cauconian units braced themselves for action. The god of earthquakes swept beside him there and gave the man a burst of winging orders.
Hey, Aeneas, what god on high commands you to play the madman? To be closer. Fighting against Achilles' overwhelming fury, both a better soldier and more loved by the gods. Oh, poor Aeneas. Pull back at once, whenever you're thrown against them, or go down to the house of death against the will of fate. But once Achilles has met his death, his certain doom, take courage then. Go fighting on the front lines then. No other Achaean can bring you down in war.
With that, with destiny made clear, he left him there on the spot, and turning back to Achilles, quickly brushed away the mist from his eyes, the magic, God-sent haze. And Achilles stared with all his might, dazzled, disgusted too, and addressed his own great heart.
Impossible. Look, a marvel right before my eyes. That spear I hurled is lying here on the ground. That man, I cannot see him. The one I hurled at, wild to cut him down. Ah, so the deathless gods must love Aeneas too. And I thought his vaunts were empty, hollow boasting. Well, let him go, I say. Never, never again will he have the nerve to test my fighting power. Even now he was glad to save himself from death. Now, quick, I'll marshal our battle-hungry Argives, face the rest of the Trojans, test them, fight them down.
And back to the lines he leapt, and urged each man.
No more standing back from the Trojans, brave Achaeans. Now, fighter, go against fighter, out for bloodshed. It's hard for me, strong as I am, single-handed to make for such a force and fight them all. Why, not even Ares, the deathless god of war, not even Athena, for all their heavy labor, could hack a passage through such jaws of battle. But I, whatever fists and feet and strength can do, that I will do. I swear, not hang back, not 1 inch. Straight through enemy columns I go plowing now, and no Trojan, I guarantee, will thrill with pleasure once he meets my spear shaft head to head.
Spurring his men while Hector, a flash in armor, urged his Trojans, thinking he'd even go up against Achilles.
No fear of Pelides. Now,
Pilates.
Pilates. No fear of Pilates. Embrace your core. What is it?
It's Pelides. It means Achilles. It means son of Peleus.
Pelides. Ah,
Pelides.
No fear of Pelides now. The sandwich is tasty. My gallant Trojans. I too could battle the deathless gods with words. It's hard with a spear. The gods are so much stronger. Not even Achilles can bring off all his boasts. Some he'll accomplish, some cut short, half done. I'm off to engage the man. Though his fists are fire. Though his fists are fire, and his fury burnished iron. His fists are fire. His fists are fresh. You got the new bit. Ignore me.
All right. Spurring them on to raise their spears for a full assault, and the Trojans' fury massed and mounted, war cries broke, but Apollo suddenly stood by Hector, shouting,
Don't for a moment duel Achilles, Hector. Out in front of your ranks. Withdraw to your main lines and wait him there, out of the crash of battle, else he'll spear you down or close for the kill and hack you with his sword.
So Hector drew back to his thronging comrades, terrified to hear the voice of God. Not Achilles. Armed in battle power, down he flung on the Trojans. Here we go. Loosed barbaric cries, and his first kill was a Phaeacian. Aeneas' hardy son and a chief of large contingents, born of a river nymph, to Ortyntius, scourge of towns, below Tmolus' nose in the wealthy realm of Hyde. As the Trojan charged head-on, Achilles speared him square in the brows. His whole skull split in half, and down he crashed, Achilles exulting over him.
Here you lie, How do you say Atrinitus?
Yeah.
Otryntius' son, most terrible man alive. Here's your deathbed, far from your birthplace, Gyge Lake, where your father's fine estate lies, next to Hyllus stocked with fish, and next to the whirling Hermes.
Vaunting over the dark that swept his quarry's eyes, and the running rims of Argive war cars cut him to shreds at the onset's breaking edge. And next Achilles lunged at Demalaon, son of Antenor, a tough defensive fighter. He stabbed his temple and cleft his helmet's cheek piece. None of the bronze plate could hold it, boring through the metal in the skull, and the bronze spear point pounded. Demalaon's brains splattered all inside his casque, the Trojan beaten down in fury. Hippodamus next. He leapt from his chariot, fleeing before Achilles. Achilles' spear shaft rammed him through the back, and he gasped his life away, bellowing like some bull that chokes and grunts when the young boys drag him round, the lord of Helice's shrine, and the earthquake god delights to see them dragging. So he bellowed now, and the man's proud spirit left his bones behind. Achilles rushed with his spear at noble Polydorus, son of Priam. His father would not let him fight, ever. He was the youngest born of all the sons. Priam loved him most, the fastest runner of all. But now the young fool, mad to display his speed, went dashing along the front to meet his death. Just as he shot past the matchless runner, Achilles speared him square in the back where his war belt clasped. golden buckles clinching both halves of his breastplate. Straight on through went the point and out the navel. Down on his knees he dropped, screaming shrill as the world went black before him, clutched his bowels to his body, hunched and sank. But Hector, seeing his own brother Polydorus clutching at his entrails, sinking limp to the ground, the mist came swirling down his eyes as well. He could bear no more, wheeling off at a distance, shaking his whetted spear, he charged Achilles now, coming fierce as fire, but Achilles marked him quickly, and springing forth to take him, triumphed to himself.
Here is the man who's raked my heart the most, who killed my cherished comrade. No more delay, dodging each other's down the passageways of battle.
Under his brows he glared at royal Hector, shouting,
Quick, charge me, the sooner to meet your death.
So now Achilles is fighting for his dead Patroclus. Hector is fighting for his dead Polydorus. My gosh.
Oh, man.
But Hector, his helmet flashing, never flinched.
Jogging. Don't think for a moment, Achilles, son of Ilias. You can frighten me with words like a child, a fool. I'm an old hand myself at trading taunts and insults. I too am well known to. Well, I know you are brave, and I am far weaker. True, but all lies in the lap of the great gods. Weaker I am, but I still might take your life with one hurl of a spear. My weapon can cut too. Long before now, its point has found its mark.
He brings up Patroclus. He brings up Patroclus to get a rise out of Achilles. Don't worry, I can still kill you. I've killed people before. Remember?
I keep saying, don't talk like a child, and then talk for a straight 20 minutes.
Yeah. Literally.
And just say really nothing.
Are they yell? Yeah, they're shouting across, they're running at each other shouting this.
Yeah.
It helps so much to imagine this as an anime.
That's what I was exactly thinking. Oh my god.
Ora, don't think for a moment.
Exactly. It's really just an anime.
This is sick. Just my favorite thing is Achilles is shouting at Hector. He's like, I'm coming for you. That kind of makes sense. But Hector's like, hey, don't think for a moment. I can throw insults too. I'm good at this too. This is so lame. Hector's so lame.
I know. I mean, I think it's if this were real life, Achilles would be like, I'm coming for you. And Hector's like, yeah, well, I killed your boyfriend.
It's like, oh. I like it.
The drama, though. The drama.
The drama. Yes, I want the flashbacks to come too.
Grim reminder. He brandished the shaft and hurled with all his might. But Athena blew it back from Achilles bent on glory. A quick, light breath, and the shaft flew back again to tall Prince Hector and fell before his feet. Achilles blazed, charging, raging to cut him down, loosing savage cries, but Phoebus Apollo whisked him away. Easy work for a god, and wrapped him round in mist. 3 times the brilliant runner Achilles charged him, lunged with his bronze spear. 3 times he slashed at a cloud. Then, at Achilles' 4th assault, like something superhuman, his terrifying voice burst out in winging words. Wait just 1 sec. So that's a callback to when Patroclus was trying to climb the Trojan walls. It said the same thing. Apollo is stopping him. 3 times Patroclus tries. A 4th time, it's something superhuman. So the same kind of phrasing is working now.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, so Achilles tries to attack Hector, and then he says,
Now, again, you've escaped your death, you dog. But a good close brush with death it was, I'd say. Now, again, your Phoebus Apollo pulls you through. The one you pray to, wading into our storm of spears. We'll fight again. I'll finish you off next time. If one of the gods will only urge me on as well. But now I'll go for the others, anyone I can catch.
Whirling, he stabbed Dryops, spearing him right through the neck. He dropped at his feet, and Achilles left him dead and smashed Demuchus's knee, still towards dropping sun. stopped him right in his tracks with a well-flung spear, then sprang with his great sword and ripped his life away. Then on he rushed at the sons of Bias, Lagonus, Dardanus, hurled them off their chariots, slammed them both to the ground, one with a spear thrust, one chopped down with a blade. Then Trus, Alastor's son, crawled to Achilles' knees and clutched them, hoping he'd spare him, let Tros off alive, no cutting him down in blood. He'd pity Tros, a man of his own age. The young fool. He'd had no idea, thinking Achilles could be swayed. Here was a man not sweet at heart, not kind, no, he was raging, wild. As Tros grasped his knees, desperate, begging, Achilles slit open his liver. The liver spurted loose, gushing with dark blood, drenched his lap, and the night swirled round his eyes as his life breath slipped away. And Melius next, he reared and jammed his lance through the man's ear, so the lance came jutting out through the other ear, the bronze point glinting. Eclecus, son of Agenor, next. Achilles split his head at the brow with hilted sword, so the whole blade ran hot with blood, and red death came plunging down his eyes, and the strong force of fate. Decleon next, he lanced his arm with a bronze-shod spear. He spitted the Trojan through where the elbow tendons grip, and there he stood, waiting Achilles, arm dangling heavy, staring death in the face. And Achilles chopped his neck, and the sword sent head and helmet flying off together, and marrow bubbling up from the clean-cut neck bone. Down he went, his corpse full length on the ground, just as Achilles charged at Pyrrhus' handsome son, Rhegmus, who'd sailed from the fertile land of Thrace. Achilles pierced his belly, the bronze impaled his guts, and out of his car he pitched, as his driver, Areithus, swung the horses round, but Achilles speared his back, and the spear shaft heaved him off the chariot too, and the panicked stallions bolted. Achilles now like inhuman fire, raging on through the mountain gorges, splinter dry, setting ablaze big stands of timber, the wind swirling the huge fireball left and right, chaos of fire. Achilles storming on with brandished spear, like a frenzied god of battle, tramping all he killed, and the earth ran black with blood. Thundering on like oxen broad in the brow some field hand yokes to crush white barley, heaped on a well-laid threshing floor. The grain is husked out fast by the bellowing oxen's hoofs, so as the great Achilles rampaged on, his sharp-hoofed stallions trampled shields and corpses, axle under his chariot splashed with blood, blood on the handrails sweeping round the car, sprays of blood shooting up from the stallion's hoofs and churning, whirling rims. And the son of Peleus, Achilles, charioteering on to seize his glory, bloody filth splattering both arms, Achilles' invincible arms.
Sick. It was cool.
That was brutal.
That was pretty anime.
Yeah.
That was really anime. I was into that.
He's good at his job.
He's good at his job. Employee of the month.
Work.
Oh, Achilles always working overtime. What a man.
I imagine like the people on his side that have just been like, fighting for 9 years, and then all of a sudden they're like, hold up, Achilles showed up today. Like, damn.
Whoa.
They're just waiting.
Right. This guy's like grandpa. He's like, whoa, he's here. Okay. That's pretty awesome.
Like, compared to other chapters, like, we'll see Menelaus kills someone, that happens for a paragraph. He kills another person, that happens for a paragraph. But in this one, it's just like, boom, boom, bang, bang, bang. Just cutting them down. And actually, in the next chapter, when Achilles fights the river,
all the time.
The river itself gets mad because all this blood is going into the river. So he's killed so many people, the river gets mad.
The river's like, bro, stop.
And then Achilles fights the river.
Seems like some climate foreshadowing. Especially since he also just set fire to a bunch of timbers right here.
That was a metaphor. But yeah.
Achilles started global warming, dude.
It's just so weird to have like a chosen one who's so violent and merciless. Like, could you imagine if like Harry Potter like slaughtered
I was thinking like this is like the final battle when everyone's been fighting for a little bit and then Harry shows up.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
But I mean, Harry did a lot before the battle started, so
Yeah.
That's fact. No, he's been busy, but I still would like to see like a rampage situation. Just
And that's
anime
the whole
cult
thing,
Harry.
that he's not a rampager. That's why he's different than Achilles.
That's fair. I guess he's like a better person.
Only reason.
The
Only
one thing separating Harry
They're
from
the same in every other way. I gotta say, the amount of murder in this chapter was very satisfactory. I would this 8 out of 10 this chapter.
It definitely drives home how much better of a warrior Achilles is than everyone else.
Yeah.
Well, also everybody else has been fighting for 10 years straight, and he's just been chilling in his boat. So like,
But
Yes, it only took us a month off.
yeah. But if I've been fighting for a month straight, and some fresh boy came in and he was like, "Yeah, I've just been like relaxing with my feet up," I'd be like,
he was stretching. He's like,
Yeah.
okay.
He's kind of making them look. Yeah, you're right. Like he's kind of making them look bad.
Right?
Or I don't know. Like
Kind of, but it's like it's hard to. I don't know. I mean, they all know that he's the best. Like it's kind of no question.
yeah.
That is the thing though. Like if he is the best and he took rest, he's ready to do some shit.
Yeah.
That's one thing I like.
Okay, detour. At the beginning of this, when they were like gathering the gods and stuff, I could only picture the Lego Movie. Have this
What
real
happened?
quick.
Wait, how what?
everything.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, not that part. There's this part, I don't know really why. I haven't seen the Lego Movie in a minute, but I know there's a part when they like, I think Poseidon's there.
What?
But there's like, yeah, like Lego, like the heads of, I think Dumbledore is there and Gandalf.
What?
Darth Vader.
Yeah,
Is this the best movie?
the
Kind
Lego Movie.
I think I've actually seen that movie.
This is sick. So
So-
there's the whoa.
They have a quick meeting, and that's what I was like. That's what the Gathering of the Gods was for me.
That's really cool.
I like your idea. I like your vision better.
Thanks.
For sure.
Poseidon is in the Lego movie. That's why he's the best god.
I think so. Zeus might have been there. I don't know. Someone was there.
like.
Like, and like.
And comment and subscribe.
Patreon. Send money to
Murat, just Murat, apparently.
Murat, we have a Patreon. Did you start a Patreon for us?
My Patreon. So I assigned Rayla that position. Rayla's on it. I'm sure Rayla's working really hard on it, and we'll have a little business meeting with Rayla. We'll figure it out.
We'll add her to the org chart.
Yes.
First official sponsor, Patreon creator.
Patreon creator. Somehow my subordinate. Apparently.
I don't know about
Probably not.
Oh man.
Well, I put him up to the task, therefore I deserve. Actually, no, I don't. But if he makes the Patreon, or wait, she or he?
She.
Wait, who is Rayla?